Oh my God! You see, Chris is already making excuses up. Yeah, I'm good. Hey, what's up? Welcome everybody to college. Actually, we have a new name to the show. College football DFS, the night before lock. Pete Cole here. You guys used to seeing two of us, me and Walt Waddell, but I am now solo. Walt has moved on, so good luck to Walter in his new endeavors over FTN. But I'm still here, and we're still going to bring you the same shows every week. We've been doing this for 2 years now on this show, and we've had a lot of success, a lot of good comments, so we're going to continue to do it. But first of all, yourfielderschoice.com. We're a fairly new site. We've been around for a little while. Small sports, college sports is our niche, so everybody's welcome to check us out. We have free Discord, and like I said, college sports is our thing. We have a new special going on right now, $25 a month for the first 2 months. You can't beat that. That includes every single sport. If DK offers it or FanDuel, we offer it. And just kind of give you like a breakdown of what we're all about. Just looking at our articles for today, we got college football, of course, we're going to have for the Thursday slate and the Friday slate and Saturday. We have NFL Showdown coming up on Thursday. We have golf articles for PGA, for Euros, golf article out for LPGA, NBA preseason. Of course, we have MLB Showdown articles, MLB lead. We do really well there. NASCAR. My man Eric does LLL Esports. Chris is doing Euro Hoops, which actually starts, I believe, this week. And there's content out for that. We have some really cool videos out right now on YouTube, short videos, pretty much in all these slates. So check them out. They're pretty awesome. And look at our winning lineups room. We're pretty much crushing on these little sports. So check us out, yourfielderschoice.com. $25 a month for the first 2 months. You can't beat it. I don't think there's any other site in the industry that's going to beat our prices right now. And that's it. It's college football time. And said, welcome again. Pete Cole here. We're going to discuss tonight the Thursday night slate, two games. And then we're going to do the Friday slate. Right after that, I'm going to hit that. It's 3 games. Pretty much, I'm just going to hit the top positions for each slate. Go over to cash plays, even some GPP plays, maybe give you a core, and then we're going to end up some PrizePicks plays. Tomorrow night at 9:30, we have our main show for Saturday's main slate. I'll be joined by Adam B12, who's been with us since day one. He'll be my co-host on that. But that's for tomorrow. So let's get right to it. College football. If anybody is watching live, any questions, any comments, any suggestions, want to tell me I suck or whatever, just throw it here in the YouTube chat. I'll try to answer them. My producer, G, will. And we'll just kind of move on. So I said it's the first time I'm doing this alone in a couple of years. I'm used to doing MLB every night, but college football, so just forgive me if I make a couple of blunders here. But let's start right away with Thursday night, 2-game slate. It's probably going to be chalky. The way I'm looking at it at the moment, we have 2 games. We have Coastal Carolina, Arkansas State. Hold on, I got Friday's game put up. We have Coastal Carolina at Arkansas State. And then the other game, both start at 7:30. The other game is Houston at Tulane. Coastal Carolina is a big favorite, minus 19.5 right now. And then the other road team, Houston, is favored by -5.5 over Tulane. Looking at total game implied, of course, the Coastal Carolina game is the highest game on the slate at 73.5. And then you got Tulane at 59.5, the Tulane-Houston game. Implied totals, Coastal Carolina, of course, is going to have the highest implied total, 46.5, followed by Houston, 32.5. And then the other two dogs, Arkansas State, 27, and Tulane, both at 27. And we're obviously going to be talking about Coastal Carolina a lot in the slate. They're going to be chalky. We got to figure out how we can get all these players in there. Can we not? And then let's go through it right now. Quarterbacks. So starting out quarterbacks here on Thursday night. And, of course, the main quarterback's going to be Grayson McCall. He should be the highest owned, probably the highest owned player on the slate, obviously. I'm looking at McCall probably close to 80% owned. And he's got every reason in the world to be owned like that. He let me see. Right now, he is by far. He's by far must-win cash games. He leads FBS in passing efficiency, also completion percentage, 82%. He's completed 69 of his 86 passes this season for 1,100 yards, 10 touchdowns. He's only been intercepted once. The only question we have on McCall is he did leave the game last week injured. He was seen in the second half in a walking boot, but also they were up like a crazy amount, like 30. I think it was like 38-3 at halftime. So they pulled him. The latest I've actually seen from the coach is it looks like he is. What did Jamie Chadwell say? Jamie Chadwell said yesterday he's ready to rock and roll. Everything is good to go. So there should be no question. There should be no more red flags on Grayson McCall. He should be good. The only thing I would maybe be concerned about, since it could be a blowout, I think this game is going to be a little bit closer than people think, is him going early because of the ankle. Actually, it was his left ankle. It was rolled down by another player. But Chadwell was saying he could have actually continued that game if necessary, but it was a big blowout, so they pulled him. Right now, he's got 50 consecutive completions going back to his final two games, to final two passes against Massachusetts last week, which is actually one shy of the school record set by, I think it was Zach McDowell back in like 2010, 2011. So McCall is by far your chalk play. You need him in cash. Lock him in. He's going to be high owned. Play him. Now comes down to, I do think in the Superflex spot, this slate, I do think this is a 2-quarterback slate. Sometimes these smaller slates, these weekday slates, you can get away with running like a top running back in Superflex. But I think we got decent enough quarterbacks today where you can go quarterback in Superflex. My top quarterback is going to be Clayton Tune for Houston. He is no, actually, Tune for Houston is going up against Tulane. To go back to McCall quick, Arkansas State right now is, let me see, they're ranked 122nd out of 130 teams in the nation, allowing over 300 yards per game in the air. They're also allowing a nation's worst 16.7 yards per completion and second worst yards per attempt, 9.5. Now going to Tune at Houston, he's going up against Tulane, who's actually almost as bad as Arkansas. So Tulane is, their pass defense is ranked 112th, 275 yards in the air, and along with giving up 12.28 per completion. Two horrible defenses, Arkansas State and Tulane in the slate. I'm probably running Tune as my second play, and this is in cash. If it wasn't for McCall, I think he'd have the top matchup of the night. He's, since week one, he had a terrible game. He had a terrible week one against Texas Tech, but after that, he's been solid. He's been actually he's turned off 4 straight wins, 5 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, and now he's got 33 point implied total tomorrow night. And to me, 6.6 is a bargain based on price, and is probably going to allow us to get some of the other studs. The other thing is Michael Pratt for Tulane. Actually, right now, I'm seeing Pratt as projected higher than Tune. Am I saying I don't agree with it? I would probably rather play Tune. I'm a Tune guy, but Pratt's there. Pratt is, let me see. He's 7'8". He's had a bunch of injuries though this year. He's averaged 213 yards passing, 31 attempts. He is a dual threat though. He's 117 yards rushing on a season, but he's not the most efficient passer. He's only throwing like 58% passes. So it's between your two is probably between Pratt and Tune. I'm rolling out Tune. Any GBP plays here at quarterback. The problem is I like Arkansas State. I think Arkansas State is going to keep it close, but we're dealing with some problems here, Arkansas State, with the quarterbacks. So you got James Blackman, who's a Florida transfer. He's pretty much taken the lion's share of the snaps at quarterback over the last couple of weeks, but you do have Elaine Hatcher sitting there. Elaine Hatcher is kind of a gunslinger. And if Hatcher does come in a game, which he did last week, he can throw some touchdowns. He can definitely toss the ball. So let me see for context. Blackman's completed 102 passes, 1,264 yards, 8 touchdowns. Hatcher's completed 49 for 621, 7 touchdowns. If you want to take a chance, you want to run one of these guys, I would probably run Blackman, but definitely only GBP because I said this is going to be a high scoring game. For some reason I do like Arkansas. I don't think Arkansas actually has been beat by Coastal Carolina at home. So it's like a 19, 20 point spread. I could see Arkansas keeping us within, 10, 12 points. So I do like Arkansas a little bit, not to win, but you want to run a GBP play out there, run Blackman. Hey, if you're multi-entering, run Lynn Hatcher and see what you get. Hatcher's been known to throw it. So once again, McCall's my top play. Number 2, Michael Pratt, and then like a James Blackman / Lynn Hatcher at quarterback. I'm assuming Blackman's starting, but if you find out Hatcher is starting, I probably would throw Hatcher in some GBP plays. They're gonna have to pile up yards. Because once again they have the horrible defense. So they're gonna be playing catch up, garbage time. So I do like Arkansas State quarterbacks. All right, so running backs here we got. Damien just asked a question. Any update? Yeah, on Tune's hammy. Yeah, actually, I just saw an update on there as I was going through my stats, and it looks like from everything I'm seeing, he's good to go. Let me just confirm that. Everything I'm saying, he's good to go, and obviously, we'll have updates in our Discord. If he isn't, I would probably go right to Michael Pratt and run the Tulane quarterback. I'm not gonna go to the Houston backup. But everything I'm seeing here is he should be good to go. All right, running backs on the Thursday slate. Allen. So this is kind of, we have a 3-headed monster here for Coastal Carolina. Actually, 3 really good running backs. So you got, let me see, you got Reese White, $5,700. Shamari Jones, $6,300, and Braden Bennett, $4,700. So I call it a 3-headed monster. All 3 of these guys, I believe, are in play for cash. Looking at projections, it looks like Reese White is going to be the highest owned, mainly because Shamari Jones has not played. He didn't play a lot. I don't think he's played the last 2 games. Jones is probably the better overall runner. Like I said, he's less the last 2 games, lower body injury. So I would run Reese White out 5-7 if I'm going to go run one of them. And the thing is, a Coastal Carolina, everybody thinks McCall is the team, the passing, but actually Coastal Carolina runs the ball 64% of the time, which is actually 12th in the country. So they pretty much do what they want on the ground. 6th in nation with 257.4 yards per game, 6.4 yards per carry. And all 3 of these guys can do what they want. White with a discount, he's averaging 7.1 yards per carry. He's got 6 touchdowns, 374 yards. Jones is 288 yards in 3 games for 3 touchdowns. Like I said, it looks like he's ready to go. Everything I've seen has got him playing on Thursday night. The sleeper I see is Braden Bennett. Yeah, he got more run, got more burn with Jones out. But I still think he's a decent RB3. I still think he's a decent flex play tomorrow, especially in GBPs And even at 4.7 price, if you can't get somebody you want in receiver role, I have no problem playing Braden Bennett even in cash. He actually leads all Coastal Carolina runners, 8.2 yards per carry. Second in team touchdowns with 4. He's going to be low owned. And if anything, to me, he's a top GPP value play. Coastal Carolina should have no problem at all against Arkansas State. Now, you think their Arkansas State pass defense is bad? This rush defense is the worst in the country, allowing 6.6 yards per rush, and the second worst in the country in yards allowed, 263.2. Arkansas State is a horrible, horrible defense. Looking at the ownership on these three, White's going to be the highest owned, so you probably got to lock him in the cash. He's probably going to be 80%. Everybody else is in the 20s. Jones and Bennett probably looking between 20 and 25% owned. So you're playing cash games, you could probably run White and Jones together, or even like a White Bennett. One of my favorites though is Alt McCaskill for Houston. The problem is he's 7.5. He's the highest owned. He's the highest salaried running back on the slate. He's going to be lower owned than White. But if I can get McCaskill and White together in my main lineup, that's the way I'm going to roll right now, the way I'm looking at it. But McCaskill, man, McCaskill's been a stud. He's a true freshman. He's taken over the RB1 role pretty much with style. He was dominant last weekend against Tulsa. He ran for 3 touchdowns, had 77 yards on 17 carries. Now, remember, McCaskill is the highest rated running back recruit that UH has ever landed. And now he's showing what he can do. He's got 7 touchdowns in his last 4 games. And he's actually showing he's a complete back. He's got 11 receptions on 13 targets for 78 yards and another touchdown. Tulane right now is allowing 207 yards per game rushing, making McCaskill, to me, a solid play. 106, they ranked 116 nationally out of 130. And also, Tulane's been mashed for 14 running touchdowns through 5 games. So even though McCaskill's 7.5, when I was looking at it earlier, I was thinking he's probably a GPP play. But I really think that you want McCaskill in your main lineup. If you can get McCaskill and like a Reese White, you're doing pretty well. The problem is, though, after that, the running backs just drop off the edge of the table. They drop off the end of the world. There's nobody else, to me, even worth, especially in cash. The only one I would possibly have some interest for is Genio Booker for Tulane. Booker's pretty much unseated Cameron Carroll as the RB1. I don't want to say he's unseated him, as Carroll, I think, is probably still the man there. But Booker is only 4.2. He's involved in passing game, plus running the ball. Let me see. Now, he actually has outran Carroll the last 2 weeks. So, and Carroll's been inconsistent. Carroll's only ran the ball 14 times over the last 2 weeks. Now, Booker is got 14 catches on 19 targets. And like I said, he's actually outrushed Carroll the last 2 games. Booker is probably the only other play I would even think of using in cash if I had to go that low. Cameron Carroll, I think, is still a GPP play. We've seen what Cameron Carroll can do. We saw him last year. We saw what he did. I think it was in the bowl game. I'm not saying, but I ain't using Carroll in cash. He's too inconsistent. But you want to run a GPP play? No problem running Cameron Carroll out there, as I said, because we know what he can do. He's proven it. He's shown it before. But that's it for me. Any other running backs I would even look at on this slate? GPP only. You got guys like Lincoln Parry for Arkansas State. No interest. Maybe Tashawn Henry, who's McCaskill's backup for Houston, because he can vulture some touchdowns. He did that 2 weeks ago. And Henry's only 3.8 minimum. So I would probably take Henry out of any of those guys. You got Johnny Lang, Arkansas State. Marcel Murray, Arkansas State. We played Marcel Murray a lot last year, beginning of the season, I think it was. That's it. These are all GBP plays. These are all darts. you pretty much encapsulated with 4 or 5 running backs for cash, and you got to pretty much make a decision on White, McCaskill, Shamari Jones, and Bennett. I'd say you take 2 Coastal Carolina running backs out of there, and then take one McCaskill and take it from there. All right, so that's running backs on tomorrow's slate. Receivers, once again, so this is all about Coastal Carolina. And we got, man, this is where I think this is pretty much going to make or break your cash slate right here is your receivers. Top receiver on the slate to me is Javion Hiley for Coastal Carolina. 6'7". A little bit lower owned than Dell, but he's McCall's favorite target. Leads the team 24 catches, 499 yards, 20.8 yards per reception, 4 touchdowns. He did get shut out last week against Louisiana Monroe, but beside that, he's had a touchdown every week beside that. Him and tight end Isaiah Likely are going to be popular. Because once again, as we said, talking about McCall, Arkansas State is one of the worst passing defenses in the nation, allowing over 300 yards per game in the air and 9.6 yards per completion. Hiley is a top play. Then you got Nathaniel Dell for Houston. I'm a big Dell guy. He is 7-1, so right now he's actually more than Hiley. I started messing with lineups a little bit earlier, and I was able to get them, the 2 of them, and some of them. But right now, Dell is turning into a stud. He's a little guy. Houston right now is kind of developing a reputation as one of these schools that are finding these little small receivers, these fast guys, junior kids, that are actually FBS ready, and that's what Dell is. He's the latest, and he's actually come in and become the alpha of this team. He is leading the team in targets. He's more than double the closest receiver with 46. Receptions, 32, more than double the second most receiver. And he's got 425 yards. He's now caught at least 6 passes in 4 or 5 games. And he's seen a minimum targets of 7 in every game this season. Actually, Houston actually averages the most plays out of any game on a slate, 76.8, and the second highest implied. So you expect to see Dell get plenty of action tomorrow night against Tulane. Against, we said earlier, their pass defense is almost as bad as Arkansas State's, around 275 yards per game in the air. If you can get Dell in your lineup, it may be a coin toss between Dell and Hiley. Either one, though, to me, it's a toss-up. Or you can run a Dell, and then you got Isaiah Likely, a tight end, who's only 5'5". Likely's Coast Carolina tight end, another stud here from Carolina. Right now, he's the only tight end in the nation with a Pro Football Focus grade over 90 plus. It's actually 93.9. So, threat anytime he takes a field. Catches 95 yards and 2 touchdowns for a tight end. And probably if Coastal Carolina wasn't leading so much, they're leading 38-3 at halftime, he would have a lot more than that. So, he's going to be popular due to his price discount from Hiley. But I think you need one of those 2 guys in your lineup. Right now, I'm seeing Hiley, Dell, and Likely all around 50% ownership, projection-wise. Anybody else you can look at in receivers? Because we got to find some cheap guys somewhere for our lineups. Let me see. I have interest in these Arkansas State guys, actually. So, but I think they're going to be playing catch-up. They're going to be throwing. I like Blackman or Hatcher, like I said. So why not take a shot at 2 guys for Arkansas State? Cory Rucker, who's only 6'1", $6,100. Second-year receiver. This kid's a burner, man. And I look at his stat line, 28 receptions for 458 yards and 6 touchdowns. You may get some more interesting cash games for Jeff Foreman because he's only 4,400. He's second on the team in targets, 42 to Rucker. Receptions, 22, 360 yards and a touchdown. So I could more GVP plays, but if you need to use them, I could see you as a definitely Foreman at 4-4 and Rucker at 6-1. At least you know those guys are going to get some burn. They can get some plays. Anybody else to look at? NBC Reddit slate. Christian Trahan for Houston at 3-6, the tight end. A little bit of interest in him. Deuce Watts for Tulane, maybe because it's priced at 4.3. I like Trayan better at 3.6. Cameron Brown for Coastal Carolina. He's your third Carolina guy, but more of a dart play. And that's pretty much it. Everybody else is pretty much all GBP plays. So once again, when you were talking cash here, you got 5 guys that probably look over 40% owned, with Foreman, Rucker, Likely, Javion Hiley, and Nathaniel Dell. If I'm making a lineup, I want Coastal Carolina, but I probably want to get some Dell in there also. So maybe if I can run like a Likely Likely and Dell, and maybe use Hiley GBPs. But they're all they'll be cash viable, all great plays. So that's pretty much the Thursday night slate. Overall, let me see. My overall, taking away a quarterback, just like running back receivers, my top play probably my top play point per dollar wise, I'd like to say Reese White, but it does worry me a little bit with the other running back coming back. So Shamari Jones coming back. So probably my top play on the site is probably going to be Isaiah Likely, his price at 5.5. All right, so this is pretty much a condensed ownership on this slate. Quarterbacks, once again, you're looking at McCall as your top play. Then you got to decide on you're going to play Clayton Tune or Michael Pratt. Running backs, it's condensed, where you're pretty much looking at you're going to play Reese White, and then decide do you want to play McCaskill at 7.5, or do you want to run more Carolina guys like Braden Bennett, Shamari Jones. I mentioned Booker for Tulane, and then receivers. We got a bunch of studs also, all condensed together. Dell, Hiley, Isaiah Likely, and then maybe a little Cory Rucker and Jeff Foreman for Arkansas State. All right, so that is the Thursday night slate. 2 gamers. Give me 1 second, and I'm going to switch over to Friday nights, and then we're going to talk some prize picks, and then we're going to get out of here. I feel like a school teacher here. So Friday night, we have a 3-gamer. And I get called up again. Okay, it's a 3-gamer starting with, they're all actually 2 7 p.m. games on the East Coast. Third one's the 10:30 game at Arizona State. Out of 3 games, highest total implied is 16.5. We got UNC Charlotte, my man Chris Reynolds, visiting Florida International. They have 60.5 team game total. After that, 54-point game total. Temple visiting Cincinnati. Cincinnati is a 29-point favorite. And then the nightcap, out on the West Coast, Stanford visiting Arizona State. Arizona State is nearly a 2-touchdown favorite at 13.5. 3 games. Look at the total implied score. Cincinnati has a highest total of 41.5. Beside that, 2 other teams over 30 points. Arizona State, 32.25 with Daniels, and then UNC Charlotte with my man Chris Reynolds at 32. Beside that, Florida International sitting at 28.50, and then 2 teams, Stanford and Temple, below 20. Stanford 18.75. Still has Tanner Mckee, who won me a bunch of money last week, and Temple 12.5. Probably won't be touching anybody from Temple. All right, so let's get into some cash plays on the slate, some projections, who are my top plays. First of all, let's looking at quarterback. This is kind of this is where I may end up being different from the field. I don't know. I'm not sure, but right now it looks like we want to look at ownership. The 2 most popular plays are going to be Desmond Ritter and Jaden Daniels. Okay, so first of all, Desmond Ritter. Desmond Ritter. Just give me a second. I'll call my Ritter stats up. I'll get better at this as we. Okay, so Ritter right now, looking at probably over 50% owned. To me, he made a statement last week against Notre Dame. They had the backs against the wall. Notre Dame started moving the ball. scored a touchdown. They actually outscored Cincinnati 13-0 in the second half. Cincinnati now playing on the road. To me, one of the biggest games in their program's history. They need a strong stand, and to me, Ritter came through. Him and Jerome Ford. They marched on the field. They marched on the field 6 plays, 75 yards, forced Notre Dame to take the lead. Their defense came through, forced Notre Dame to turn a ball over. Cincinnati ran the clock down. Next, it was history. And Ritter's pretty much puts himself to me in Heisman talk. He was 19 for 32 against Notre Dame, 297 yards, 2 touchdowns. We've been big on Ritter at YFC for a couple of years now. My problem with him Friday night is his price at $9K. Probably should be a core play, but to me, I don't know. I found out in DFS the last few Saturdays where if you go at least one mid-price guy or even 2 and make it up with some studs and running backs and receivers, you can still do okay. But don't get me wrong, Ritter's probably going to be the highest on the slate and probably it's going to be the most raw projected points. Desmond Ritter at $9K. But now looking at Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is the other quarterback that's going to see a lot of ownership. He's probably looking at over 60%. Now, Daniels, had a huge game last week also. This team's got momentum going right now. They got crazy confidence, especially when they came back, beat UCLA, who was actually ranked number 20 last week, 42-23 in the Rose Bowl. So that win pushed ASU to first place in Pac-South. Actually, back into the national rankings. I think they're like 22nd right now. 22nd AP and 25th in USA poll. Jaden Daniels had a huge game. So I've always been a Daniels guy, but Daniels looked really good on Saturday night. You see, he was actually Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Week. Threw for 286 yards. He was actually really efficient, 13 for 18 passing, pair of touchdowns. And it was his 9th game now in a row where he's had 2 or more touchdowns through the air. Nice thing is also with Daniels dual threat. He ran for 45 yards and 6 carries. So Daniels having the second implied total night against Stanford at 32.25. Right now, I think Daniels is a great point per dollar play at 6.9. So who am I going to? If I'm not huge on Ritter, I don't want to say that. I don't want to talk people off Ritter because he's the best quarterback on slate. But if I want to be different, where else am I going to go? Is my man Chris Reynolds. Chris Reynolds, to me, I just saw the kid. The thing is, I didn't really pick up on it. He's actually $600 more than Jaden Daniels, but Reynolds is 7.5. He's been up and down, but he's actually having a hell of a year right now. So if I can call up Reynolds, Reynolds right now probably the best quarterback in Conference USA. He started 29 games now for Charlotte. He's completed 62% of his passes, 1,100 yards, 11 touchdowns, and only 3 interceptions, averaging 8.3 yards per game per attempt. And he's actually going to end up with career highs in passing yards and touchdowns. We also know the season he had 2 years ago, he was really well. Also, Reynolds has got some legs. So he's gained 178 yards on the ground and 3 touchdowns, which actually is a team high. I like Chris Reynolds a lot and possibly a super flex spot. Now, Reynolds is probably more of a GPP play when it's all said and done. But I really think though Reynolds to me could be a cash play. I think Reynolds actually is a really good play. So Ritter's probably a smart play, but if you want to be different, take a shot at Chris Reynolds. But to me, Jaden Daniels is also a top play you want. All right, so what else we have? We have any else a quarterback we like? Not really. Possibly like a Max Bortenschlager. I mean, he's having one of his better seasons. I mean, the last couple of years he really struggled, but now, I mean, he's completed 45% of his passes, averaging 5.9. No, that was his first year. I'm sorry. So he's actually ranked second right now in Conference USA, and 11 nationally, average 9.5 yards per attempt. He's a senior, so if you want to be different, maybe GPP play because he's 6'3", but that's it. So you're going to decide at quarterback whether Ritter, Jaden Daniels, or Reynolds. The smart plays for cash say you run out Ritter and Daniels and try to find value anywhere. You want to be different, run Reynolds and Daniels. All right, running backs. We got a bunch of good running backs actually on the state, but then it drops down. Probably, to me, the top quarterback on the slate, running back, is Jerome Ford. I mean, Jerome Ford he's going up against Temple, allowing 171 yards per game. A main thing, they're allowing 2.4 rushing touchdowns per game. The thing with Ford is Ford's not cheap. Jerome Ford comes in 7-8, but I think you need him. I think actually Jerome Ford should be a core play. He's another guy, ex-Bama kid, Florida kid, 364 yards in a season, 6 touchdowns, 67 attempts. He's had 200-yard games against Miami, Ohio, and Murray State. And last week, it was the huge road win against Notre Dame. Ran 17 carries, 71 yards. And also, see them last year, had 180 yards. So Ford is probably a core play, but he's probably not the highest owned. The highest owned is probably going to be Devontae Price for FIU. My problem is Price has been so damn up and down. Now Price is 6'5", so he's not really cheap. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to think of Price. They got to get Price back on track because let me see. His 3 consecutive games now have been subpar. Now 48 carries, 135 yards over that 3-game stretch. Is actually the worst of his career. And he's averaged 10 or more carries per game. So if FIU is going to establish that run as first priority, they need to get more consistency out of Price, out of Davis, and they sure need their quarterback, Max Bressenlager, to do something. So Price is the highest owned on slate, running back, probably have him in cash, but he's got to do something. He has not a really good run. Now, who else we have? The third guy, ownership-wise, people probably going to be pushing toward Chip Trainium for Arizona State because he's 5'5". Rashad White, though, is the play, 8'2", just for raw point-wise. So let's talk about Rashad White first. Right now, Rashad White is one of 4 players in the FBS that leads his team both in rushing attempps. He's got 65 rushing attempts with 325 yards, 8 touchdowns, and also leads his team in receptions with 23. So there's only 4 players in FBS that are doing that, and one of them is Rashad White. He's a dangerous playmaker. Stanford is allowing 212 yards per game on the ground. White's a great play. The question is, you pretty much can't play White and Jerome Ford in your cash lineup. So you got to make a decision on which one you want to play. Probably Ford's the play, because then you can run back and run like a Chip Trainum at only 5'5". He's only played 2 games so far this year, but he played the first game of the season against Utah State, where he ran the ball 6 times, 52 yards, 2 touchdowns. But he did play last week's game against UCLA, where he ran the ball 16 times, 67 yards, 1 touchdown. So great play for training him at 5'5". That's why he's looking at like the 3rd or 4th highest projected owned at running back. So on my main lineup, I'm not sure. So I'm going back and forth on Devontae Price, but Devontae Price could be like 80% owned like I'm seeing. I probably have to play him. Any other running backs you're looking at? Let me see. We got Shadrick Bird for Charlotte, who's only 4'5". To me, Bird's more of a GPP play, but I mean, Bird's a transfer from Iowa, and what I like about Bird though, he's works out the backfield also. 7 catches, 93 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he's actually in his top ball carrier rusher on the Charlotte team. 57 rushing attempts, 250 yards, 4 touchdowns. So Bird at 4.5 is in play. Probably GPP wise, unless you need that price to fit in another stud. If not Bird, I have no problem dropping $300 less to Calvin Camp at 4.2. Now Bird is still the lead carrier, but actually Camp has actually done more with fewer rushes. So he actually leads a team with 290 yards, 49 carries, and 2 touchdowns. So these are more like GPP type plays. Bird and Camp. Anybody else? Austin Jones, Stanford. I mean, he's down all of a sudden 3.9. Anybody thought at the beginning of the season that Austin Jones would be only 3.9? I'd be saying you're as crazy. But he is. And Nathaniel Pete, 4.7 for Stanford. Who else we got? That's pretty much it. That's all I would even think about playing. Able to be under like 3 or 4% owned. So going back to running backs now for cash Friday night, you got to decide on: are you gonna run 3 running backs? You're gonna run your flex spot, and if you do, you're probably gonna want Devontae Price, mainly because of his high ownership. So he's had a tough 3 games, but if he goes off, and you don't have him in cash, you're screwed. So you want Price. I would say Jerome Ford. Then you gotta make a decision on Chip Trainium, Rashad White, or a guy like a Shadrick Bird for Charlotte, be a little bit cheaper. All right, so running backs for Friday night. Now we got receivers. Receivers, so this is, you might get a little bit different. There's like no stud on a slate. There's no highly. There's no Nathaniel Dell on this slate. We got 2 Charlotte guys, Grant Dubose and Victor Tucker. So these guys are so close in numbers. I still think Victor Tucker is. I mean, he's the leader. I wouldn't consider him the alpha anymore. But I still would consider him probably a WR1. I've always liked Tucker. He's a kid from down here in Miami. He made a big stir on the off season when they asked him who's the toughest defensive back he's faced in the Conference USA, and Tucker came back and said, I actually have the quote here in front of me: "To be honest, it's more about me and my mentality. None of them come to mind. I'm all about dominating whoever is in front of me. So none of them good." That's what I like about Victor Tucker. But he is no longer the alpha on the team. This kid, Grant Dubose, has come in. He's a Division two transfer. He went to, I think it was Miles College. Miles College, he only had 8 receptions 2 years ago. Last year, Dubose sat out with the transfer protocol. Actually, I was reading something earlier where he worked like 3 jobs last year during football season. Yeah, working for 3.5 jobs in Alabama while waiting for the to go through the transfer portal. He actually is good friends with the backup quarterback, I believe, for Charlotte. They played together, and James Foster. So he's good friends with James Foster. They grew up together. Foster transferred from Texas A&M to Charlotte. Told the Charlotte coaching staff about Dubose. Next thing you know, Dubose is at Charlotte. So, and his numbers are freaking phenomenal though for this kid's just D2 transfer. Right now, he has got 24 catches, 393 yards, and 4 touchdowns on the season. Like I said, he's only got 8 catches in Division II in his whole career. Tucker, 30, has got 30. So Tucker's got 36 targets. Dubose has got 33 targets. Tucker's got 23 receptions. Dubose has got 23 receptions. Dubose has got 50 more yards. But they're, to me, probably 2 top receivers on a slate. I still like Tucker. I like Tucker. He's a great player. He's still got some games. I like quarterback Chris Reynolds in the slate. Now, where else do you go from there? Because after that, to me, it's just potluck because you got a few guys. You got Alec Pierce for Cincinnati, 22 targets on the season, 15 receptions, 283 yards. You just don't know, what you're going to get with Pierce. To me, he's a GPP play, especially when he's 7K. You got Ricky Pearsall from Arizona State at 6'2". My favorite is probably, and he's probably going to be about 15% owned. My favorite, like say third receiver, maybe on a slate. I like Elijah Higgins for Stanford. Now Higgins, and I didn't even mention Tanner Mckee in the quarterback spot. So, and Mckee is definitely the only GPP play this week. Like I said, I used Mckee last week, and he did really well for us actually in that Oregon game. But Higgins, he's 5'4". He's actually the target leader on the team, 31 for Stanford. Receptions leader, 22. Leads the team in yards, 273. He's got 3 touchdowns, so that's the only thing he doesn't lead the team in. He's second to Bryson Tremaine. But we saw what Higgins can do last week, especially in that catch that took him to overtime when Mckee kind of lobbed the ball up in the air. Higgins, was like 6'2", 220, 225, and he ran the end zone fade, kind of jumped up in the air. Next thing you know, the ball's in his hands. Out jumped DJ James, and they're in overtime. So huge win for Stanford over number 3 Oregon. Next thing you know, everybody knows about Elijah Higgins, but he's had a good season. So I'd have no problem playing Higgins at that price at 5'4". I have a problem Pierce at 7K, but even though they are, the highest implied slate, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you do play Pierce at 7K, but don't sleep on Higgins at 5'4". A couple other guys, John Humphreys, Stanford, he's 4'1". Jaden Blue for Temple. Okay, Blue actually, Jaden Blue is kind of a sneaky play. He's only 3'8". So put him kind of in the back of your mind. And that's pretty much it. Michael Young Jr., GPP only. Tyrese Chambers, FIU. These are all GPP plays. So in cash, I think you want at least one of Dubose, Tucker, especially their pricing. Can you get to Alec Pierce at 7K? It may be hard because those running backs. But if you can, Pierce is a cash play. It's probably going to be about 30% owned. Like I said, give Elijah Higgins a try for Stanford. If not, you got John Humphreys, one of these guys for Stanford. All right, so I know I talked fast, but I'm not going to make this a snoozer either. Pretty much Friday night slate. I'll kind of go through it again quickly with kind of like a core plays, whatever. Quarterback. Desmond Ritter is your top play, top raw play. He's going to be highest owned, probably over 60% owned. Also, you got Jaden Daniels for ASU, probably over 60% also. But both of them, at least one of them needs to be in your cash lineup. If you don't like the Ritter Daniels pair, I'm saying run with like a Chris Reynolds as your third quarterback, and then like a Daniels Ritter. Or if you make alternate lineups, make a second lineup with Reynolds and a Daniels. Running backs, the highest one's on a slate is Devontae Price for FIU. Like I said, he's struggled lately the last 3 games. He's really struggling for FIU, but he's going to be high owned because he's still a stud. He's still their main runner. 6'5", was his price. Jerome Ford is going to be popular. Jerome Ford is probably a core play on the slate for Cincinnati. That's another reason I'm kind of against Alec Pierce. If I'm playing Ritter, yeah, you can play all 3 of them, Ritter, Ford, and Pierce, but usually I don't like to do that in cash, but also it's a 3-game slate. So, but Ford's your second running back, and then if you want to run 3 running backs, you can decide on Chip Trayanum was now back for ASU. Came back last week. Rashad White, who I love, but he's 8'2", so probably more of a GPP play unless you don't play Jerome Ford. And then I got like a Shadrick Bird for Charlotte or Calvin Camp. Camp's actually running better, $300 less, but they're both in the like mid-4s. And then receivers, this is the shit of the slate. 2 Charlotte guys, Grant Dubose, the Division 2 kid we talked about, or Victor Tucker. the cocky number 1 receiver for Charlotte, and you're gonna make a decision on like Alec Pierce or Ricky Pearsall for ASU, and maybe even Jaden Blue at only 3.8 for Temple. All right, that's pretty much it for the 2 games. I know there's been some people interested in PrizePicks, and I do believe PrizePicks does have a board up. So let me look at that quick before we get out of here. Okay, so we have my PrizePicks is fighting me. Hold on. I'm not gonna. My PrizePicks is not coming up. My computer just went. This is nice. You guys can still hear me, right? Okay. All right. My computer just went down or something for 1 second. Of all time. So yeah, I take a Grayson McCall. I like McCall over the 252 passing yards. Just Javon Hiley, yeah, take Javon Hiley over 5 receptions. I'm sorry, this beer was my PrizePicks is being really slow for some reason. They're probably the 2 top plays for tomorrow. Yeah, so I have a problem with the PrizePicks. The PrizePicks site is not even coming up for me right now. It's total. Yeah, we're gonna. And I apologize, but if you go on to our site in our Discord, we'll have all our picks. I'll also have picks in the article this week. We'll have an article for the Thursday slate, article for the Friday slate, also article for Saturday main slate. Hold on, PrizePicks just popped up. Okay, so if you guys bear with me, I'm sorry, but I'm back. Grayson McCall over 252.5 passing yards. What else we got? Chris Reynolds over 222.5 for Friday night. Take that over. I like that. Let's see. Rushing yards. Let's see if I see anybody really low here. Jerome Ford, 94. I wouldn't probably touch that. Cameron. Man, they have some pretty tight numbers here. I still think Rashad White at 68 and a half. Probably would take the over on Rashad White, 68 and a half. Alton McCaskill over 75 and a half rushing yards. Let's look at receiving yards. Receiving yards. PrizePicks has been much tighter this year than they were last year. Elijah Higgins over 59 and a half. Nathaniel Dell over 83 and a half with that Tulane defense. And I said highly over 94 and a half. And that's probably it. We'll have more articles. We'll have more on our Discord. We actually have a free PrizePicks room on our Discord. We have premium rooms and free rooms. We do have a free PrizePicks rooms. So just sign up. It's free. And I believe our producer has some. You have some. What do you call it? DOT. PrizePicks plays. Dota 2? Is that how you say it? Dota 2. Okay, I see it now. Dota 2. What do you got? Okay, so for your esports people, we got Nightfall over how many kills? 14 and a half? Oh, over 14.5 kills. Write that one down. Urus over 17.5 kills. And this guy that's talking to my ear right now is giving me these plays, knows what he's talking about. So I'm giving you guys a lock here. I got one more. 23 Savage under 9.5 deaths. Take the under. What about 21 Savage? Wait. Oh, I don't even know so there's a 21 Savage too. But 23 Savage, take this loser under 9.5 kills or 9.5. Yeah, 9.5 deaths. I'm sorry, deaths. So you have kills and deaths. So under 9.5 deaths for you esports guys that play. Even if you don't play esports, this guy that's in my ear right now knows what he's talking about. Write these plays down, play them. And when is that for? That's for tonight. That's for early this morning, 3 a.m. 3 a.m. East Coast time. All right, so these guys, we gave some special prize picks here, you guys tonight. And if you guys want any questions, so let me see. Tomorrow night, 9:30, I'll actually have a co-host with me. So it'll be talk about the whole main slate. So we have some good stuff there. I'll be really prepared for that. I've actually already been working on the main slate. No, I don't know what 21 Savage is. I have no idea. And then what else we got? Tomorrow we have MLB. We'll have MLB showdowns. We have NFL showdown. I'm actually going to work on that tonight, and we'll have an article out for the NFL showdown, Thursday Night Football tomorrow. And it's all about college football, Thursday, Friday, Saturday main slate. Beside that, we have golf. We got soccer. 3 golfs going on right now. What, PGA, Euro, LPGA. We got European Hoop starts tomorrow. Our Euro Hoops guy has been doing this now for 4 or 5 years now, I believe. Big time Euro Hoops player. Check out. We actually have a video for Euro Hoops out too. I know we have a bunch of CSGO esports videos out. Eric Mckee did a great job there. So a lot of good stuff going on here at your Field of Choice. Check us out. We're getting big. We're going to explode soon. And if that's it, no questions, we're out of here till tomorrow night. Good luck, guys. Do I normally close my eyes when I talk? I'm looking at there's like the tape delay.